such contradictions. Now, Audi's Q7 has been missing in action since 2019. That's not long enough for us to forget this iconic SUV, but it is long enough for us to get a bit fuzzy about what it stands for. So this is a perfect time to catch up with the Q7 in its facelifted avatar. Spending time with the Q7, I've realized that it does have some misses. But at the same time, it is still very tantalizing, and this combination makes for a machine which has some incredible contradictions, like the way it looks.
Well, think of Hulk and Banner.
First, the familiar angle, but one that makes a very big point, which is to say that the Q7 is massive. It is about 5 meters long, which is much longer than the competition, but at the same time, when you look at its lines, everything is neat, everything is tidy. It actually seems to be understated, trying to hide its size. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Depends on what you want. So it's big, but not a bully. And another case in point are the 19-inch alloy wheels, which from a distance would look generic and a bit bland. But when you get up close, you realize they are actually quite handsome. This angle, I'm sure we'll all agree, is a welcome change. The main reason for this facelift, which is to give the Q7 an SUV look. And while it does look more SUV, it's also more Audi, which is to say more technical, not boastful.
The Q7 is longer, and that's because of the changes to the face. Here, you get an octagonal grille that is more edgy. The edginess also extends to the LEDs for the turn indicators and the DRLs, and the matrix headlamps look cool.
The tail lamps are new too and have that more technical look, and the rear also has more chrome. But it's tasteful. Contradictions, I told you. Contradiction 2. More technology is better? Well, not always, right? No, don't get me wrong. Now this new Audi theme for the cabin, which is this dual screen setup sitting one on top of the other, is here in the Q7. It's a small change in the sense, but it makes it look new. It makes it look cleaner, sharper. And the screens themselves are sharp and responsive to use. But touchscreens to use while driving, not a big fan. Sure, the good thing is that there are voice commands, so you can use the air conditioning system using that, but it is, well, there's a little bit of a learning curve. And when it comes to the drive select buttons, which are again under this flat finish, it's hard to use on the go, and you have to reach out for them to the other side, the left-hand drive side. Audi, could we just have them here ahead of the gear lever? Technological updates also include the kick to open boot feature, and we know just how well that works. Oh, it does work. I'm sure that was a fluke. We'll try again. Maybe from this side. Okay, no sensors on this side, huh?
With just a press of the button, you can lower the boot height and also lift the third row of seats. You get lots of space for luggage, and that's also because there is no spare wheel. To boost convenience, there's Auto Park Assist, which uses the 360-degree cameras to make your way in or out of parking spots easier.
And there is more technology to better safety, like this camera-based lane departure warning system, which warns you an audio alert and actually steers the car for you in case you're about to change lanes inadvertently. And yes, obviously it doesn't work basis this camera. It's the camera that's up there on the windscreen.
And for those in the back, you get these screens, which are bright and rich to look at. These Android-based tablets are detachable for added convenience.
Contradiction 3. Comfy and, we'll get to that later, but first the comfort angle. The backseat experience of the Q7 has always been great because it's just so spacious. It's a really airy cabin, and sitting 3 abreast, not a problem. You don't feel squeezed in, and with these seats that slide, you have a little bit more adjustability and flexibility. Aside from that, you have 4 aircon vents here, 2-zone climate control for this second row. And what really makes this feel special now is the air suspension. It just feels magnificent. It is gliding over rough surfaces, just cocooning you, and at the same time it's not feeling sloppy. So you really enjoy your time here in the back seat, and what makes it even better is the fact that this cabin is really well insulated. So getting comfier, pretty easy. And because of that adaptive air suspension, which can change ride height, you are pretty comfy up here too, pretty much wherever you go. So it's comfy and fun. Well, fun might be stretching things a bit, but you will smile in admiration for what the Q7 does. Because when you put it into a corner, you'll find that the Quattro just provides so much grip, and the air suspension just kind of tightens up, so you're not sitting with excessive body roll. It just feels tidy. And then when you switch into dynamic, it just tautens up. It feels like a bit of the car has evaporated. It just handles itself so well there. Now, I couldn't nitpick about the steering being, well, not very feelsome, but I will not complain about it because it is an improvement. It's light, but it is giving you a sense of connection and precision. Contradiction 4. First, let's talk about its calmness. Now, the Q7 is offered in the 55 TFSI guise, which basically means it has a 3-litre turbocharged petrol engine, which is creamy smooth. And along with that cabin insulation, it just feels so serene. And it is also serene in the way it drives. With the mild hybrid tech, at low speeds, it's just so responsive. And then there's also the steering, which is light, and it makes the car so easy to maneuver. You don't wrestle with it. You can place it easily. You can just swiftly make your way through city traffic. But if you get out onto the highway, you'll find that it is also composed. The suspension just lets it feel at home and at ease. And then, when you want to make an overtake, this is the end. It also is explosive. So it may be a calm vehicle when you want it to be, but it can really giddy up and get a move on when you want. And that is fantastic. But, and there is a but, because Vorsprung durch Technik, so the expectations are really high, and for all its sophistication, the Q7 could do better on some fronts. For instance, the gearbox could just be a little bit more sharper weighted so that it doesn't feel a little lumpy at times. It could be quicker. And then there's the stop-start functionality, which could turn the engine on a little bit earlier, a fraction earlier, like when you're getting off the line at a light. And finally, there are the brakes, the feel of which can be a bit inconsistent and takes a little bit of time to get used to, and that's because it's got mild hybrid tech, which is trying to recuperate energy and then use the brakes, the discs, to stop harder when you ask for it.
But the biggest problem here is the lack of a diesel engine. The Q7's epic 45 TDI is no longer available in India. Contradiction 5. The Q7 is loaded but lacking. Yes, it is sophisticated and loaded. It has 4-zone climate control, 30-color ambient lighting with different combinations for different zones. There's an ionizer and perfume dispenser too. There's Audi's virtual cockpit, the B&O sound system, panoramic sunroof, adaptive windshield wipers, and aside from all this you get the usual Audi quality. On the safety front, you do get the lane departure warning and the park assist, and aside from that, there are 8 airbags.
The equipment list could certainly have been longer. There are no heated or cooled seats on offer. The passenger seat up front doesn't get memory function, and if you think about the second row, globally you do get motorized functionality for adjusting those. And in terms of headlamps, while we do get the matrix headlamp setup here, we're not getting the laser lamps just yet.
Also, you should keep in mind that the side step and the entertainment package for the rear seats are optional extras.
And in terms of comfort, the rear seat could have been optimized a little bit further. A little bit longer seat base would have made it that much more comfortable. And the third row, well, it hasn't been tweaked either. Yes, you could have adults there for short city journeys, but mostly that's meant for children.
That's because under-thigh support is missing. And in terms of creature comforts, there aren't any blower controls or charging ports here. So, the facelifted Q7 has found an interesting balance between being ultra bold like the first gen was and understated like the pre-facelift car. And as a personality, it has found a confidence that makes for a very strong pitch.
So the final contradiction. On the face of it and under the skin, and in terms of the features list, the update to the Q7 is minor. There are revisions, tweaks, nothing seismic. But the equipment that it's offering is something that is much stronger. It's something that makes it feel special, something that makes it feel memorable in the way it drives and in the way it treats you on the inside. So, it's a vehicle that's not shouting for your attention, but promises you that if you choose to spend time with it, it's definitely going to make a bigger, stronger impression than you would have imagined. Provided, of course, that you could look past the fact that it doesn't have a diesel engine on offer and that its styling is understated and a little bit more somber. And if you can choose to do that, then you'll find, after spending time with the Q7, that you will never look at the Q7 in the same way ever again.